Air raid alarms mean there is a possibility of a bombing, but we are now witnessing these drone attacks on a daily basis. We have been reporting on them to the United Nations. It seems that Russia has changed its tactics to continue what they call Operation Great Chaos. In recent days, the chaos unleashed by Putin has begun to cause him much greater problems. Putin, who has found himself cornered after the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk, is struggling to find a solution to Ukraine's relentless drone attacks. In addition to strikes carried out particularly near the Ukraine-Belarus border, Moscow is also facing its share of this threat. However, the attack that took place the other day foreshadowed an even greater collapse for Russia. Let's go over the details of the incident. We would greatly appreciate your support by liking the video. As the Daily Brief team, we will continue to share the latest news with you. Ukrainian drones attacked a pumping station connected to the Druzhba pipeline in the Bryansk region, near the Russia-Belarus border. According to Forbes, the attack was most likely carried out by a newly developed Ukrainian drone. The Druzhba pipeline is one of the largest oil pipelines in the world and plays a crucial role in Russia's oil sector. The resulting fire was large enough to be detected by NASA's fire detection satellites. Estonian analyst from War Translated stated that, based on the fire's evidence, it could be concluded that the attack was successful. Over the past 2 years, Ukrainian military forces have been targeting Russian energy facilities are constantly being targeted by Ukrainian forces using kamikaze drones designed to explode on impact. However, according to the Ukrainian social media channel Mykolaievsky Bonik, this time the drones not only crashed into the station, but also carried out bombing operations in the Bryansk Republic. Ukraine has begun using modified civilian recreational aircraft to conduct combat operations. For example, the Aeropract A-22 has a payload capacity of 100 kilograms. The conditions surrounding the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, are also changing. Previously used primarily as attack platforms, UAVs are now gaining a significant advantage due to their ability to carry and drop ammunition. An A-22 equipped with explosives, for example, has a maximum range of 640 kilometers on a return mission. However, in a one-way operation, its operational radius extends up to 1,300 kilometers. The distances covered in Ukrainian attacks on Russian energy facilities are detailed below. Since the target in the Bryansk region was only a few kilometers from the Ukrainian border, UAV endurance was not a major concern. These drones have the ability to drop their payloads and return to base, but the complexity of remote landings remains a significant challenge. Operators likely minimized risk by employing a dual strike strategy, first deploying explosives and then relaunching the drones to hit the target again. If the Ukrainian military manages to ensure the safe recovery of drones after missions, these aircraft could become reusable weapons. This would significantly increase the efficiency of attacks on Russian energy infrastructure and make it possible to strike multiple targets simultaneously. Since the latest attack on the Druzhba pipeline targeted a pumping station just 40 kilometers from Ukraine, UAV endurance was not a key consideration in the strategic planning of the attack. Operators may have either deployed their ammunition and returned to base or launched a second strike on the same target in a double-impact strategy. Larger Ukrainian UAVs are capable of returning if equipped with underbelly-mounted munitions, which could be reusable. Each of these drones could potentially strike multiple oil refineries or pumping stations over their operational lifespan. Later, Ukrainian forces carried out a drone attack on an oil refinery in Volgograd, Russia. Experts say Ukraine is once again targeting refineries it struck with drones a year ago. This time, the Volgograd refinery, owned by Volgograd Neftepererobotka, was the target. According to Russian public sources, the drone attack began around 3 a.m. Residents in the area recorded footage of drones circling the refinery, accompanied by machine gun fire and explosions. At the same time, local sources reported that firefighters and ambulance personnel were heading to the impact site. Local authorities have not yet commented on the drone attack. On the night of May 11th, 2024, the refinery was targeted by drones operated by the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. Subsequently, key refining units ABT-1 and AB-6 were damaged. The same plant also suffered damage in 2025 due to a mysterious fire that led to the suspension of its operations. Russian media reported that Unit 18 and two heat exchangers were damaged in the fire, which was allegedly caused by an internal emergency rather than external factors. However, residents reported hearing explosions before the fire started. The Lukoil Volgograd Neftepererobotka refinery began operations in 1957 and processes crude oil transported via the Samara-Tikhoretsk pipeline. It supplies petroleum products to the Southern Federal District and has an annual production capacity of 15 million liters of oil. On February 3, 2024, Ukrainian drones carried out a previous attack on the facility. As we can see, Ukrainian defense forces are continuously attacking oil refineries within Russia, triggering a collapse in the energy and gas sector. Ukrainian aviation expert Konstantin Kolap described this collapse as follows. The Russians operate a terminal in Ust-Luga. This facility was attacked last year and temporarily shut down, but reopened in May. Given Russia's total refining capacity of approximately 340 to 380 million tons, about 54% of this capacity is used for processing. Additionally, the attack on the oil pumping station led to the shutdown of operations in Ust-Luga, leaving it without resources for pumping. This is particularly significant as it demonstrates the effectiveness of offensive operations carried out by the defense forces. Continuity and supply diversification are vital in the energy and gas industry. If a supply channel is disrupted, no amount of force can restore functionality. An analysis of the targeted oil refineries reveals a striking statistic. Russia uses approximately 10 million liters of aviation kerosene per year for both civil and military aviation. The Ryazan refinery has a production capacity of about 2 million tons, while Kovykta produces a similar amount. The Volgograd refinery has a production capacity of no less than 1 million tons. As experts point out, Russia will be deprived of aviation fuel for a long time, forcing aircraft to be transported over distances of up to 700 kilometers to refuel. According to analysts, Ukraine's strategic campaign against Russia's military-industrial infrastructure is gaining momentum. Recent large-scale offensives, extending up to 100 kilometers behind Russian front lines, highlight Ukraine's growing capability to undermine Russia's defense industry and expose unprecedented weaknesses in its air defense systems. The most significant operation took place between January 13th, 2024 and 2025, when Ukraine deployed over 100 drones to attack Russian industrial facilities, oil depots, refineries, and ammunition warehouses in regions such as Voronezh, Saratov, Tatarstan, and Oryol. Additional strikes in Kaluga and Tula further demonstrate Ukraine's ability to conduct deep strike operations. As Fabian Hoffman, a researcher at the University of Oslo, explains, these strategic attacks target the enemy state's military-industrial infrastructure, critical defense industries, supply chains, and key transport hubs. The primary goal is to weaken the enemy's military capabilities both during deployment and pre-deployment phases, ultimately reducing the total amount of military equipment available to Russian forces. According to European Pravda, An anonymous NATO official stated that Ukraine's two-year military campaign had reduced Russia's hydrocarbon refining capacity by 17% as of July 2024. The recent attacks on facilities, including the Bryansk chemical plant that produces explosives and rocket propellant, demonstrate the effectiveness of this strategy in crippling Russia's military production. Even temporary disruptions in these facilities can significantly impact Russia's ability to manufacture weapons. Russia's air defense systems face major challenges in countering these low-flying swarm drone attacks. Notably, Moscow's response to the latest strikes has been unexpectedly restrained. In contrast to its missile strikes on Ukraine, Russia has avoided its usual nuclear rhetoric. Hoffman attributes this shift to changes in the international political landscape, particularly the transition in the U.S. administration, which has altered Russia's traditional threat response dynamics. He draws historical parallels to World War II, noting that similar strategic campaigns aimed at crippling Nazi Germany's industrial capacity proved effective over time. Despite initial resilience, sustained bombardments eventually led to significant reductions in German production. Hoffman emphasizes that success should be measured in relative terms, rather than absolute figures, by assessing how much an adversary's production capacity declines relative to its peak potential. These operations exemplify Ukraine's technological advancements in drone warfare and its cooperation with Western allies. Hoffman highlights that this collaboration has enabled Ukraine to rapidly enhance its drone capabilities, complicating Russia's efforts to develop effective countermeasures. By denying Russia military supplies before they even reach the front lines, Ukraine preserves manpower and essential resources for its forces. As of January 2025, Ukraine's defense industry had reached a remarkable level of productivity, with domestic production accounting for more than 96% of all drones used by the military in 2024. Building on this momentum, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal announced plans to produce at least 30,000 long-range drones and approximately 3,000 cruise missiles and missile-launching aircraft by 2025. These attacks have forced Russia to divert significant resources toward protecting its infrastructure, increasing pressure on its military logistics. For Ukraine, such strikes provide a cost-effective means of weakening Russian military operations while demonstrating its ability to strike deep into Russian territory. Not only for those who have been victims of it, but also for the Russian people, who have had to endure the repercussions of the Kremlin's wrongdoings. The conflict initiated by Russia has caused severe devastation in Ukraine, and its prolongation will only worsen the consequences for Russia. The war has significantly weakened Russia and its people. The Russian economy is in serious decline, and reports indicate that Moscow is losing around 100 soldiers every day. The official emphasized that the United States will do everything possible to facilitate a stable and sustainable resolution to the conflict while ensuring the security of Ukraine and our regional partners and preventing further loss of life and destruction. We aim to avoid a flawed resolution that could trigger another conflict in the next 2 or 3 years. The war initiated by Russia must end immediately. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video to stay updated with the latest news.